My name is P.SO Earthtone, and this is the Cremona Quartet Remix. All right, so that's the beat. This one was not easy, as I've mentioned before. So the first thing that I wanted to do is, it's funny because I kind of took Corey's same approach, and I didn't want to use the piano. So the first thing that I had to do, and I had to do this in a whole separate track, is I took the piano track and I had to lock it down to a specific tempo. Normally, I would just sample it and stretch it to this tempo, but as Corey already said, certain sections of the track have different tempos, and that is not easy to do. So I'm gonna have to open another session just to guys show you what I did, because it's kind of important. But essentially, Ableton allows you to place what's known as transitions. And as you can see, there's these little transitions, these little markers. And these markers allow me to stretch a track one way or another, and I can change the tempo of specific sections of the track. So I went through the entire track and I placed all the transitions exactly where I needed to. And that allows me to change the BPM. I can change the tempo, like I can pitch shift, I can do whatever I want from that main track. Now here's the problem. Once I did that, there were several different stems, right? So I did that with the main piano. I placed all the transitions and I locked it to a BPM. Then I extrapolated the MIDI data from that rearranged track. So once I had changed the transitions, that's what I pulled my MIDI data from. I didn't pull my MIDI data from the original sample. I pulled it from the one that I manipulated with the transitions. So now I had a MIDI that was locked the way I wanted to, and I could manipulate that. I could add whatever sounds I wanted to. I could move forward with that. Now this is what is even more trickier. I only did that with the piano, right? So I wanted to put the strings in there, but I didn't want to have to do that again. I didn't want to have to place the transitions all over again and redo it. So what I did was I changed the source file. So I went back and I changed the source file and just renamed it to what the original wave was. So when I reopened Ableton, it used the new source file of the wave and it had the old transitions that I'd placed in there. So I kind of tricked Ableton into doing it twice without having to do it twice. It took me like an hour to wrap my brain around it, but I finally figured out how to do it. So by doing that, I was able to then place the strings into the new file with the MIDI data extrapolated, and it matched perfectly. I had to do 2 sessions and I had to use a lot of ingenuity to do that. So I was kind of proud of myself for doing that. So once I did that, now I had everything in there. I had everything locked into the same key. I had all of my strings in there. I had my keys in there, and now I could actually make the beat. So from that point, what I did was, and this is the first time, the guys are gonna make fun of me because I never sequence anything. I always just play my beats live, but I had to sequence this one because I had no choice. So let's look at the stems from the piano. So this is the piano data extrapolated into MIDI form. And I just wanted to play around with different instruments. I figured Corey was gonna do some crazy guitar work or something. I know E was gonna do something crazy. So I just wanted to use a different sound. So I went with this, like, what instrument is this? You already know which VST I use, my favorite, the tape piano. Insomnia is the name of this patch. So it was kind of like a weird, I don't know, just a weird kind of sound to it. Now, conversely, the way I just told you everything I did, there is another way to do this. And I did it the first time. And that's just to extrapolate the MIDI data from the original piano file. And then after that, moving the chords the way you want them that way. That is also possible. But I chose not to do that because I wanted to be able to do my trick with the strings and be able to lock those in without doing it over again. So that's why I didn't do that. But there is a different way to do the convoluted way that I used. So anyway, got the pianos in there. I like them. The bass line, honestly, I didn't have time to go crazy with the bass line. So I'm going to be honest, I cheated. I just took the MIDI data and got rid of the high notes. Just left the low notes in. Another trick I learned from E. This was the actual strings that I flew in there. And obviously these ones had the transitions in. I just explained that trick to you guys. So of course it fit the beat perfectly already. And I switched the drums up. So initially I had some regular hip hop drums and I switched to trap drums just for that section, just because I felt like it would be fun to do that. Let me see. And then I put this little sound that I like. It's kind of like someone breathing. I've used that sound before.
I've heard that before.
And then that was pretty much it. There's a lot of music in this. For a remix, I struggled with it because there was so much. And I was like, all right, what do I leave in? What do I take out? Whatever. So I just figured I put everything into one section of it and then leave the rest of it. So then let's see, what else did I do? Okay, so towards the end, I kind of did something a little bit different. And I wanted to do a regular ThreeBeatsLater beat because, you know, I just wanted to do a ThreeBeatsLater style. So I just actually sampled it and I just chopped it up, which is what I would normally do with this track, is just sample it and chop it. So that's how I got here. And I chopped a little bit more. And I just added a violin to it. This is one of the Labs VSTs that E put me onto. This is a great one if you don't have it. I think he talked extensively about this one last week, but I put some choir in there and I manipulated them so they sounded kind of cool. And that's really it for that second half of the beat. I didn't want to go too crazy because I just wanted to keep it simple, and try to stay into the mind of the remix. But yeah, I didn't really do too much more to this beat. There's a lot of things I had added and I took away, but at the end of the day, I just wanted it to be just like pretty cerebral, kind of like deep thinker type of beat. And yeah, I appreciate the challenge because I learned some new techniques that I can now employ next time I sample. So this was a pain in the ass, but it was worth it because I learned something new.